Healings in the second hour. If you simply wish to make a healing request, please type into the chat room on wolfspiritradio.com with the name of the person, the location, and the condition that the person needs healing. You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio. Good evening. It's the 23rd of November 2014. This is the Earth Healers Group with Frank Jordan at the helm. How's your ship this week, Frank?
Well, wonderful. We'll hear from Joan first, and then I'll tell you all about my week.
Okay. This is Sunday, the 23rd, Universal Mind Radio, in conjunction with Wolf Spirit Radio, would like to present to you 2 hours of reflection and meditation this evening by Frank Jordan. Teresa will be joining him tonight in some discussion that I'm sure we'll all be interested in. I'm looking forward to hearing about it. He's also joined by the Earth Mind Healers Group. During the second hour, Stephen tunes in through Frank, and we'll be taking healing requests from the audience. So please call in. Frank is from Boise, Idaho. He is a dowser, mineral, missing persons, and healer. For further information on Frank Jordan, please visit his website at www.psytronics.com. That's PSI-TRONICS.com. You can also reach him through his website and his email address, fljordan@cableone.net, and his phone number, 208-344-9188. And now let's enjoy the show. Frank?
Good evening, everyone. Well, life is in a steady progression of advancement for all of us. This celestial consciousness streams of energy that are coming in from the photon belt and directly from the galactic center, which seem to be intensifying, raising our frequencies ranges so that we can be more receptive of consciousness as it comes in. And our internal receptors can translate it through the chakra system into knowledge, and the information translates into knowledge that we can work with. And it's just been an incredible week for us. I just been on a round-the-world trip today. I spent an hour with Yvonne in New Zealand this morning, and that was the culmination of some of our learning in the last couple of weeks, being able to go into her high self and make connections that should really open up her range of consciousness incredibly and her healing ability. And then, of course, between that and 4 o'clock this afternoon, I got to watch the Broncos win their football game, and that's always uplifting. And then I came back at 4 o'clock and went to England and worked with an Indian fellow there that moved to India. And I worked with his sister and his aunt in India also. And these are very beautiful souls. I love working with them. And we got him started on his path. And it's always fascinating to me to find people or to be exposed to people who have the opportunity to help people who are really genetically and astrologically set up to do exceptional things. And they just never get exposed to the triggers they need to turn them loose and set them on their paths. And this is what happened with him. He was a Pisces, incredibly psychic, and was locked into a religion that with the usual block in his forehead between the indwelling soul and the frontal lobes of the brain that keep people from accessing their higher levels of consciousness. But by deprogramming that religious block, he immediately began to open up and could follow quite easily everything I did with him. And it culminated with taking out a low self indweller, which is his cousin who was killed in an accident. And the cousin was really messing up his life. And with that cleared, he's going to take off like a skyrocket. And so that's the most enjoyable thing I can do is help people get off their blocks and into the race and quickly gain the gifts and the ability to take them into higher consciousness. And that has happened with everyone in the World Healers group that we're working with here through Universal Mind Radio, the meditation group. I've had the opportunity to work with every one of them individually and actually invited them into the group because of their potentials. We know that the more we get clarity ourselves, the more we can expand our consciousness, the more we can empower the group mind consciousness of ourselves as a group, the more energy we have to send out over Wolf Spirit Radio. And through JP and his connections around the world, we're reaching a lot of people. A lot of people are waking up and gaining understanding. And as we get more people prepared, downloaded with a matrix of understanding of how things work, this is what's going to shift the consciousness of the world. And we're not the only ones doing it. There are other groups around the world are being similarly prompted and stimulated by the higher levels of consciousness that are leading us into the fourth dimension. And so it's just almost a matter now of listening and enjoying the ride and following your promptings. In that respect, let's talk to JP in Scotland for a little bit and see how are you doing, JP?
Hello. So someone's got their mic open and has is clearing their throat and things. I don't know who it is. I'm trying to see if it lights. Anyway, meanwhile, how is it in Scotland? It's been a very weird sort of new moony time for me. It wasn't very pleasant. It was just a very there was like almost a kind of not unconscious but animal-like. You know, it wasn't. There was a lack of human conscience and consciousness this weekend. In some ways, like it's a very lower self, very lower soul kind of thing. Animal soul kind of events were going on.
In other words,
but this week for me, I've had some serious transits on my astrology today and yesterday.
Okay, as I interpret what you're saying, that you've been in your survival mode, did the transits have any effect on that? Were they bringing that up? Because we're getting more interested in this astrological fixes all the time and how they influence our lives, and more importantly, how we can alter those transits and polarities to where they're not pulling us down negatively or giving us more challenges. With understanding how those things work, I did give the group a meditation this last time, I think it was, to learn how to go into your astrological fix and alter those signs. And it's all energetic. It's all in a living consciousness of mind. And that mind is not fixed and impermeable, as we've been led to believe. It's very flexible, does respond to your desire and will, because we are aspects of the God Force consciousness, and it is our right, and we have permission to intervene with structures or patterns or programs or people or anything, events or anything else that might be interfering with our progression of consciousness and our ongoing understanding of self and the self-realization of who we are. So, how did that work with you in this week, JP? Were you pulled down into low self and unable to get the grasp of how to combat the opposition forces?
Well, my response to it actually was very basic. I just did washing I loaded my washing machine up, got the stove going, did some practical things. I had 2 showers yesterday. I don't know, like that's unusual because I felt this, I needed to keep cleansing, and there was like a blockage in the sink that needed to be cleared. That sort of energy. There was a bit. Yeah, I did do a bit there as well. So it's when I experience stuff like that, I just try and stop, not talk to anybody, and basically do some sort of cleaning on the physical plane that will have a kind of cleansing effect on the inner planes. And I really don't think I've gotten to the bottom of it, so maybe we could look at that later if you have things. But in terms of those trends, I've got Mars sesqui-square North Node, Mars sesqui-square Pluto, Mars sesqui-square Mars, Mercury sesqui-square Mars. This is just today, which is all about dominance and activity and conflict and trouble and irritations, mechanical breakdowns. But since I did this chart this morning, and since knowing about it, things have gone a little smoother. I think having your headlights on, that helps.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting. Perhaps you tapped into the reason why bears hibernate in the wintertime. Just let all these transits go on by and then face them in the spring when things could be more light and food's more available, of course. But the thought occurred to me while you were expressing your week. Did you step back from the reality and become the observer of it and understand what was happening so you can directly intervene in the source of those things that were affecting you? That's the primary lesson of progression of consciousness, is to learn how to do that and then do it, by listening, watching, feeling, being aware. That's the triggers that says, hey, there's something beyond my inner self that is affecting me negatively, and to reach out and clear that. And the best way I know to do it is to drop right back into that state of consciousness where we access the subconscious mind, and it's also a route to inner meditation. And eventually you'll get to a point to where in this inner awareness, you're in this high state of meditation all the time, of open awareness, so that you realize what's going on out there, and you realize the sources of whatever might be irritating you or causing you problems, and you learn how to go to the source, even back into past lives, and neutralize things. And that's what my guest tonight is going to speak to us about. Teresa has taken some of these lessons she's learned from us and from others, and is utilizing them as a healer, a teacher in London, Ontario, and is getting very adept at doing just that, of recognizing past life influences and what to do with them. Teresa, can you come forward and speak to us about that?
Hi, everyone. I hope that I can be heard clearly, because I'm receiving difficult signals, so I hope I'm coming through clearly. Am I? Yes.
Perfect, yes. And wall to wall. You've got a lovely voice, and you've got a good microphone volume, and it's very clear, and there's no crackles, so stay perfectly still, and everything will be fine.
Okay, well, thank you very, very much. Okay, yes, I have taken one word that Frank expressed, and it was explore. And I took it very much to heart, and brought in some techniques that kind of merged together during one of my own meditations. The other day, I was feeling weak as a kitten, and my husband had a cold, and I thought, uh-oh, I can feel one coming. And I thought, wait a minute, I have the tools to reverse that, but I don't know where it came from or why I have it. So I started to look at the tools that I have, and I applied them together. And as you can hear, I don't have a snuffly nose. I do not have a cold. And so my question came, when did I consent to to these types of things, feeling low. And I feel so connected with you tonight, JP, when you're talking about feeling kind of low. And I thought, okay, well, let's go back into that place and just unhinge or unlatch that doorway and open it up. So I came across a technique actually at a conference, at a dowsing conference, where the high soul is talking to the low soul, and they need to come to a win-win agreement. So I took the thought, okay, the consent for the sniffles to have a cold or anything, and I borrowed this little paragraph and had that conversation. But I thought, just a minute, before I do that, I'm going to go back in time and figure out exactly when my consciousness, my subconscious or my being consented to that. So what I did was I went back in time and I used Frank's dowsing tools, and I encourage everyone to get one, because I have been dowsing for over 10 years. I'm very determined at learning, and I've spent years and years practicing and practicing and practicing, using a pendulum, dowsing rods, body dowsing, and the beauty of the instrument that Frank has created, and he calls it the oracle, the dowsing oracle, I believe. It overrides the subconscious. So if your confidence is not dead on with dowsing, this is just a dream. So I highly encourage everyone to get one. It doesn't tell fibs, and you can't control it, and that's why I like it so much. So I used it.
Can I inject one thing there, Teresa? It doesn't override the subconscious. It overrides the conscious mind that's trying to control your hand with an ordinary pendulum. And what it does, it allows you to step back within yourself and ask your question from the subconscious level, and the subconscious will give you the response through the divining oracle. And it's just amazing how accurate it is and how fast the response is. So that's just one distinction I'd like to make. This is a superior way of accessing the inner conscious and the subconscious mind, and through that you can access anything.
And Frank, I believe you have those listed on your website, don't you? Cytronics.com?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good place to go.
Mm-hmm. So I use that instrument to help me, and for those of you who have never dowsed, with this exercise, just simply trust your intuition. It is absolutely perfect, and so you use it. So I'd like each and every one of you to think of whatever the issue is that's bubbling up at the top, at the surface. What is, one of my favorite lines is, what's bugging you? What's chewing at you, gnawing at you, or what pops up, what memory pops up, and it might not even be something that seems very exciting or dramatic, like getting a cold. Or I had a strange thing the other day. I was ironing, and my ironing board spontaneously seemed to trigger a memory of a conflict I had over an ironing board many years ago, which it seems kind of weird, and I thought, wow, that's exciting. Now I know how to deal with removing that and releasing that debris. So the technique that I use, and I'll use the word cold for it, like a sneeze, cold, and I want to go back in time the number of lifetimes ago that this happened. And so if you just close your eyes and focus on your heart as being your way of seeing and perceiving the world, Just go back in time and look at a series of numbers, like 1 lifetime past, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you don't have a pendulum or a divining oracle, the number that just seems to pop up and stand out, trust your intuition that that's where it is. And so what I'd like everyone to do is kind of we'll go into a little bit of a relaxed meditative state and go back in that place, and then we'll do a clearing from there. So go into the resonance of that lifetime. And one way of doing it simply is just holding your pendulum or your divining oracle. Just hold it in your hand and ask it to start moving when you have reached that resonance. And the moment you see your pendulum moving, or your dowsing rods, or whatever instrument you're using, you know you're there. And what I did was to start with was to have a conversation with my high self and my low self. And I simply recited a little paragraph that came up, and it was attached to what my friend gave me. It was called an allergy cure. And the reason she called it an allergy, it was like a phobia or a body's disproportionate response to a stimulus. And the idea was it's like a cat allergy, where the body responds as if a giant saber-toothed tiger is going to eat it alive or eat you alive. So for some reason that emotion is stuck to you, and it's just hanging on there, and it's time to release it. So if you will join me in this, that'll be nice. And you can say this out loud, and it will help you to make that agreement between the high and low self. And the paragraph is very simple. It just goes like this. My precious body. Back up one step. Take a tiny piece of paper, or even write on your hand, the word of what it is that's bugging you. And just hold it to the back of your head. And that is where the reptilian brain can read anything and understand anything. And that doesn't matter if the letters are upside down or right side up. And then with your dominant hand, put your thumb and your middle finger at the bridge of your nose, and put your pointy finger on your third eye or in the middle of your forehead. And then just follow along with this. And where I say the word blank, you put in your word. I'll put in my word, which is a cold. And I say this little paragraph. My precious body, thank you for protecting me from blank for all these years. Because of you, I am safe and I have survived. And I am so grateful. However, my precious body, I now have new learnings and new understandings, and I have come to know that blank can be a good thing. It can help us be safe and survive. It can help us be strong and healthy. It can help us meet our needs and accomplish our goals. And so, my precious body, from this day forward, you and I can be in alignment and live in harmony with blank. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. So that was the first step of this meditation that I had started. And first of all, I was in a past life, in the resonance of a past life. So with us clearing that, that's one little step. Knowing also, place your intent on that clearing in that lifetime. As we bring it forward into the now, it is creating all new all new patterns, all of the standing waves that are coming into the now are being cleared away, and we can visualize having a torus above us. And those of you who have not heard the word torus or toroidal form before, imagine it's like a mini black hole pulling non-beneficial energy or unused, useful energy or thought forms off and away. So one of the beautiful things too is as you've cleared from then to now, you have gone from the past into the future, and the future is now. And then we project that clarity and pure form into our future and anchor it into the future and clear away all the debris of the future with the torus. Clear away that debris and trust absolutely that this has been lifted from your consciousness and your subconsciousness. So we can move forward in that. So now we can also slip back in time, and I also added Frank's chakra clearing, and again, go to his website and buy this chakra clearing. And we went through every stage of the chakra clearing. I did it with listening to it. So imagine that you're back in time. So you are X number of lifetimes back. And imagine, or I want you to go into the step back state of the clearing the way process with me briefly so that you have that clearing for yourself. So you're in a comfortable position. You relax. And if and when you are in those times when you are uncomfortable, edgy, and you want to get into that state, just breathe deeply into your heart and then exhale and deep breathe through your mouth as though you're sinking into your chair, and then breathe in again right into the center of your heart. And in the center of the heart is your light, and that is the you, that is the source energy, the Christ energy. So step back through the soul center, and the soul center is just a couple of inches behind the forehead through your third eye. And while you're in the soul center, reach out laterally throughout the world and invite in all of those souls that resonate with you, equal to your resonance and higher. Invite in your protectors, your guardians, your ancestors, the ancients, all of those who are, again, in resonance with you, that are willing to share their learnings and knowledge. And then step back once again into your psychic center and reach out laterally all through the world to all those who resonate equally with you and above. And you connect instantly with all of those that you wish to have a sharing of learnings and knowledge. Then step back again into the subconscious, which is up and behind the head, and visualize that it's filled with files that you have written in every lifetime. And reach up, and your heart knows exactly which files to bring down. Bring them down and place them into the heart center, as though you have a special little shelf there, because in the heart center and the 0 point of the heart is the place where we have the ability to create, manifest, demanifest all of all of the frequencies that are no longer beneficial to us in the past, in the now, and in the future. So we place that file there, and we step as though we are turning around in the past, and look to the back of your head, and look back in the past, and travel back to the resonance where you have discovered where the issue is that you would like to clear. And you're at that place now. You may look around you and see the event that's around you. And those of you who say, I see nothing, just trust that it's there. Perhaps you can't see it, but trust that it's there. Now take one step back from that and notice the event in front of you. There is the potential to make wrong choice or right choice. If you make wrong choice, you're basically you're consenting to this to occur again. So we will not go there. Rather, we'll make right choice. And the right choice is that we begin a clearing, and in that clearing, we either change the events or we go around the events, or we steer in a totally new direction to create that future. And we go around it. And when we go around it or recreate it, we are going to visualize that we are that being in that time, and we're going to open our crown chakra and bring in a column of light and cleanse the male and the female side of our polarity and balance it. If you step to the right from the center of your brain, that is the male side, the masculine side, positive as in polarity. And notice the female side, if you go back to center, on the left side, it has a sensation that is separate and different from the male. It has an essence of, or color or texture that is slightly different from the male. And you may also notice that the size of it is very different. If one is atrophied, shrunken, smaller, and the other seems huge, then I want this beam of light to come down through your crown chakra and fill that side up so that they're both equal and balanced and in harmony with your essence. Now, if we do a chakra clearing in its completeness, I would encourage you again, listen to the CD, but I'll gently walk us through each of those. Now, you create your torus and leave it above you throughout this exercise. And the torus reminds you that it's like the earth that has a north and south pole. And the south pole pulls up and into the center of the torus, or the earth, and it flows out of the north pole and comes back in the south pole. And it's constantly flowing in that circular pattern. And at the very center of that torus is the same as us, a 0 point of the heart. And at that point, all energy that comes up, non-beneficial energy that comes up through the bottom, will transmute or shift and change and become beneficial healing energy. Our intent is that it's beneficial healing energy, and then we direct it into the golden grid around Mother Earth. And that golden grid is in place to assist Mother Earth in releasing stresses. And that excess energy is just simply stored there for her use, or we also may use it. So that intention is in play throughout this exercise. So I want you to visualize that you are at the crown chakra, and we're going to clear the male side of that. And visualize on the right side, the male side, if there's any pressure or energy that is uncomfortable, just push it out to the right and up and into the torus. And push it out, and this is a lovely exercise for headaches. And in this case, remember what the origin of the intent of what you wanted to clear when you went back in your past life. What is it that was blocking you? And if you don't know, then ask your heart to find that resonance and trust that your heart will do that with you and for you. So push it out of the right side of the brain, on the male side, out into the torus. And the torus is like a little mini black hole, like a vacuum. And it's pulling in and pulling in into the torus and transmuting into the golden grid. Now come back to the center of the brain and listen out the left side of your ear in the feminine side, the negative side, but the negative polarity. Negative and positive as in the posts on a battery. And push out any energy that you feel is uncomfortable, stress of any kind. Just push it out into that torus and trust that it is with our will, intent, and desire traveling into the golden grid through the torus. Now I want you to come back to center and slide down to the throat chakra. And notice any sensations in the throat chakra. If there is a thick feeling or a choking feeling, you know that you need to clear that out. So go off again into the right side or the male side of the throat chakra. And any sensations that you feel, and you may detect them in that past life, push them out and clear them away. And allow that light, that column of light, to continue to come down and fill that space where that non-beneficial energy is traveling out of. Now come back to center and focus your attention on the left side of your throat chakra, the feminine side, and any tension, stress, or pressure, just push it out and push it out into the torus. And you can almost see like this, it's like a spring shape, a coil of energy just being pulled out into the torus, the non-beneficial energy. And it's pulled off into the torus, transmuted from non-beneficial energy into beneficial healing energy, directed into the golden grid. Now slide down to the heart chakra, and we'll also bring down the clear energy from the crown and the throat chakra into the heart chakra and unify that energy to help support it. And lean off into the right side of the heart chakra. And you may recall in that heart chakra any blocks or pressures a broken heart, perhaps, in many lifetimes past, or recent, or disappointments. Just push them out. We've learned our lessons, so we no longer require to carry those tomes, those memories, those sensations. It's just patterns of energy that no longer serve us. We thank them very much for the lessons, and we send them out into the torus. And we go back into the center and focus our attention on the feminine side, or the left side of the heart chakra. And again, we can feel sensations, disappointments, heartbreaks, and push that energy out. It no longer serves us. We thank it very much for the lessons. And we fill and replace that part of the chakra with this beautiful light. It's replacing the debris that we no longer require. And it's pulled off in the torus and transmutes into beneficial healing energy into the golden grid. Now come back to center, into the solar plexus, which is the chakra that is below the heart. And the solar plexus is the chakra that attends to daily activities and daily stresses. So we, from the center of this chakra, go to the right into the male side, and you may sense during the course of a day those feelings like you feel sick to your stomach, and that is the brain in the stomach, in the chakra, that is awakened to that sensation that intuitively it's not in harmony with you, it's not in balance. So we take that situation, that energy, and we push it off to the right of the male side. Those stresses, those daily stresses, sometimes there's shocks, or you're startled, even in traffic, or stumbling along the way. We just push that out into that torus, and that torus is so wonderful to be there. It is serving us and honoring the energies by transmuting them and putting it back into the golden grid. Now we've cleared that and filled that area with pure light, and we come back to center and focus our attention on the left side of our solar plexus, and that is the feminine side, and those are the activities of the day. We feel stresses from other people in our day, or other demands on our day. And again, those feelings, sometimes we feel, again, sick to our stomach. And this is also true of those activities that were around us in these past lives. We all had those dynamics of relationships and dealing with the day-to-day. So we take those energies that we have learned our lesson from, and we push it out, and the torus accepts it and pulls it up and transmutes it, receives it, and sends it into the golden grid. And next we drop or come back to center, and we maintain unifying the field from the upper chakras that are pure and clear, and we bring it down to the solar plexus to empower us even more into our true essence and balance and harmony. And we slide down to our sacral chakra, which is in the below our belly button, and this is the sex chakra. And in that area, we experience our day-to-day feelings and frustrations through sexuality. And we lean off to the right side, the male side, and we clear off any fantasies, frustrations that we feel disempowered by. They don't serve us. So we push them off into the torus. And those energies are replaced by the column of light coming through our crown chakra and the unified field from all of the other cleared chakras. And it fills that and creates a harmony and balance in the sacral chakra. Then we come back to center and lean off into the left side, the female side of the sex chakra. And we clear off any feelings of inadequacy, of not feeling enough sexually, the torment of comparison and things like of that nature. Those imbalances, we just push them off. They don't serve us. They are really lessons that we do not need. And as we push those off, the torus pulls them up and transmutes that energy into healing energy for the golden grid and Mother Earth. And we come back to the center, and the column of light is completely balanced, both the masculine and feminine side of the sacral chakra. And we also have the unified field that is brought down and fills that, and it feels complete and balanced. And now again we slide down to the root chakra, which is at the base of the tailbone. And the root chakra is the instinctual chakra, the survival chakra, the one that is the primal or animal chakra. It is at the base. It is not less. It is not more. It is where it is as a support, as a foundation to who we are. Now we lean off to the right, to the male side of the root chakra, and we clear off any instinctual essences that do no longer serve us or that interfere with us or have interfered in the past, that sometimes come to us in misunderstandings and superstitions. The animal side, rather than the spiritual side, we release those. They serve us. We thank them for their lessons, and we push those stresses off and into the torus, and the torus happily pulls that energy off, transmutes it, and places it into the golden grid evenly all over the earth, all around the earth. Now we come back to center and lean over to the left side, the feminine side of the root chakra, and that is the feminine side is concerned with survival as well. It also has the instinctual side. It also carries the fears, as the male side does, with not enough. Can I protect my family? Can I support? Is there enough food? And we push those fearful feelings off, those instinctual feelings off, and we release, and we know that there is enough. We know in our past life, at in our past life, we perhaps did not know. We maintained a fear. But now we are in our future. We are in the now. We know that there is enough because we exist now. And we send this gratitude to them by bringing that light down through that column of light through our crown chakra and fill those chakras, the masculine and feminine polarity, charge them with this beautiful light, with deep gratitude for all they have done for us. They have brought us into alignment. They have brought us balance and harmony, and we are ever so grateful. And we bring also all the energies of the unified field from all of the cleared chakras down to the root chakra and fill that chakra, those chakras, with a perfectly balanced, harmonious male and female side. And now we come back all the way up our spine through all of the chakras and return to the heart chakra. And we move forward now into the now, into this moment of now. We have cleared the chakras of all of our being from our past, from that time and space where we thought that we had an event that was insurmountable. But we have made the right choice by making this clearing, and as well as clearing yourself. Oh, so long ago, you have cleared all of the patterns, all of the waves, all the way up to the now. And we ask the Taurus to come and clear all of the debris from that moment in time all the way up to the now. All of that, those quantum particles are just dust that no longer serves us. That event that we stood behind no longer exists. Everything has been cleared, and our future is in form and projecting into our now. And now we have reached that perfection in the moment of now, and we project that now into our future, and we anchor that into our future, and we leave all of the opportunities and the creative presentations that we would like in our future to be open to change toward perfection. And again, because we have created this new pattern into the future, there are bits and pieces of those particles that are now to be cleared off into the torus and recycled from non-beneficial energy into beneficial energy, and again projected into the golden grid. And now we have a pure and perfect future formed. And we come back into the 0 point of the heart. And from the power of the Christ, the supreme power of the source energy within us all, we see ourselves and all of those associated with us, all of those who we love, who are near and dear to us, who we affect. We see them in that power. We are empowered, and we bring now that moment of power to the now. And just off to the little corner, we left those files from our subconscious. We have now changed all of those files into updates of perfection. And we place them all corrected and place them into our subconscious so that they no longer are patterns that repeat and return. And from the power of the Christ within, know that you are in pure and perfect alignment, balance, and harmony, and living in dominion with your own heart, with the essence of who you are. And now we will return to, we have completed our meditation in that regard, and we will come back to our psychic center, and we offer gratitude to all of those who have assisted us, our psychic friends, and all those who have resonated with us throughout the world. We release them, and we step forward into our soul center, and we extend gratitude to all of those who have assisted us on our soul level, our ancestors, the ancients, all of those who resonated equally with us and above. Again, we offer gratitude and release them for all their sharings and of knowledge. And now we step forward again into the frontal lobes of the brain, through the third eye, back into the presence of your beautiful home. And so it is.
Thank you, Teresa. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
And so, everybody, you've just been given a tour of your inner consciousness. And the CD, the chakra clearing CD, takes it even further than what Teresa did. Her technique just expressed as a quick way of clearing, and with experience and habituation, you learn to do that quite rapidly. You can totally clear yourself just in a couple of minutes, because as you're coming down through the levels, you're sensing where you're cluttered, where you're not clear, and you can quickly clear those things out. And there's actually, she cleared 2 quadrants, the left and the right. There's actually 4. There's a front and a back also. And the CD leads you through that. And the front and the back is clearing the past in the back and the future, which resonates into the 0 point and creates our future reality, which is whatever's patterned into the past, unless in the 0 point with choice, desire, will, and intent, we change our future. And this is what gives us the power of manifestation over our reality, not to be subjecting to it. And it's simply the basic clearing techniques that allow us to have access to our inner consciousness, to the subconscious mind and the chakra system, and out through that can access everything in the world through the psychic center. And so it's a quick, simple process. It's easy to learn, and it'll change your life, literally, as all of those people who have experienced it will testify. And so we'll be back shortly with some experiential healings. And with this group nicely cleared now, we should have some very successful healings tonight. So let's go to a break, JP, and be back in a bit.
And welcome back to Healings and Meditations with Frank Jordan and the Universal Mind Radio Collective, I think. Joan, do you have a special announcement for the second hour?
I think it changes every time we express it, but it's the world. It's the universalmindradio.com is this website for anyone who's interested in checking into it. And we record all of these sessions and also sessions from our private group where some very interesting discussions occur. And they are in the archives and accessible. And I think there's a monthly fee of $5 in Wolf Spirit Radio as well as in universalmindradio.com. So you're welcome to participate in our past shows, because it's been about a 3-year process now of progressive learning, development, growing understanding about how things work, and applying that to our inner consciousness. And the process, I think, basic to clarity, I stress this constantly, the basis of clarity, which is having the clutter cleared out of your system so you can access all your information you stored in your body and the information that's accessible through the portals, the vibra portals, I call them, in the body, that attune into everything out in the world around you and right on into the universe. There's no limitation when you learn how to use the clearing away technique of focusing your point of attention on something and then through feeling, registering the connection and following that connection to its point of access and feeling the energetic response come back to you. Because every time you send out an impulse, a psychic thought, an intent through the psychic center, it stimulates a response from your inner consciousness. And it's incredible how well this works. This is what we do with our healing connections. All we need is the mind, or the name of someone, and their location preferably, so we can access the mind of that person. And once we're in that mind through resonance, we can work within the person just as though we were working within ourselves. And the more power, the more people we have participating, the greater is the power of the frequencies of healing. Because everyone will have a little different set of intent and frequencies, and so just as a group we can cover a broad range of symptoms in a person and quite quickly clear most situations. And the clarity is really important for this to happen. That's why we usually do some clearing work with the people we heal in order to release the thought forms that are creating the mental emotional stress in the body that's creating the problem. So it's all a big circle, a gigantic circle of awareness and intent, knowledge, and application of consciousness through energetic forms that bring into completion and manifest of anything that we desire. And so I really appreciated that, Teresa. It's a beautiful job of walking through the chakra clearing process. And I'm sort of step back myself right now, and I think our listening audience is also, that we'll be able to do a wonderful job of directly healing everyone who has problems tonight. So I'd like to also say that we'll have guests on more frequently now, as we find people who are in harmony with our gifts and abilities and can utilize what we know as well as what they know to bring information into the people. I'd like to invite Rich, particularly in Hawaii, possibly to come in next time if he's available, and give us an update on the information that he's accrued in working with the entities and past lives and soul healing and things like that, because it fits right into everything that we're doing here. Rich, would you be available for that?
I'll certainly try to be. Yes. Let me know ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, it probably will be next week since we're talking about it. And unless something exceptional happens, it takes us in another direction. So I really appreciate your contributions. Okay. Let's drop back into our own awareness here now. And seems like there's some more information that needs to be expressed before we go into the healing mode. Do any of you have anything to contribute you'd like to say?
Well, I just want to say about the first time I've heard using the left and right polarity of every chakra in a meditation. That was really nice, and it really, really worked, especially when I came down to the female side of my sacral center and my base center, and that's where I've been damaged on my motorbike crash. That was the part that really got very, very badly damaged. So being able to clear the energies out of that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right, let's do some healing.
Okay, so thank you once again, Teresa. It was just beautiful, and yeah. Have you made any tapes of your own? Have you made your own healing tapes?
Not yet. I've just been inspired. That's all.
Okay, maybe get with me and Gary, and we'll talk about you making some recordings. You've got a great voice. You'd make some lovely. I think you could make some lovely healing tapes and things for that for your people in Ontario.
Well, thank you so very much. I will follow that one up.
Good. So, sorry, Frank.
Okay, Jackie asked, can I please ask for healing for my great-granddaughter Isabel, who is 4 years old and lives in Bend, Oregon. She's been experiencing very upsetting tantrums that involve screaming, can include scratching or hitting other children. 4-year-old is a very interesting transition stage, because that's where the child is learning to be domesticated by her parents and brought into the civilized human reality. Prior to that, they are mostly running on their low self, instinctive animal consciousness. And even though they're in the process of learning language and assimilating and downloading information from their families about what being human is, it's primarily the family, the elders, the parents, and later on those that she encounters in school and in life that hold her in the human focus of consciousness. If it weren't for that, these children would go right on up to be hunter-gatherers on the plains with instinctive consciousness that can hunt and kill and eat and breed, and that's about it. Whatever activities other than that they tend to experience. They'd be very intelligent animals, but that's what we were before the indwelling soul came in and began to domesticate them. That's the reason the soul sits where it does, right behind the frontal lobes, is because it's here that it directs the information that's rising from the chakra system up through the low self, the middle self, up into the brain, the information that our biocomputer, the desktop of our biocomputer, the frontal lobes, uses to extrapolate the thoughtful reasoning process as humans use. If that indwelling soul was not there, there would still be a sense of awareness and consciousness. It would be like a dog that has learned to speak somewhat and has a 3 or 4-year-old level of consciousness. And I see this quite frequently in people that have asked to heal, who are in comas and Alzheimer's and then accidents where the brain's been damaged, where it doesn't have the capability of delivering to our desktop the information that needed to make us rational, reasonable, functioning humans. And so a lot of times our healing processes are involved with simply balancing and bringing back into balance the both sides of the brain through the corpus luteum, so they can assimilate human consciousness and rise up. And the chakra system certainly is the hard disk of the computer where we store everything, and that's why clarity is so important. Getting rid of everything you are not, so your high self can pattern in what you are and what your soul chooses to express in this lifetime. And you can talk to your soul. It's right there. It's looking out your eyes. It's expressing out your throat. And so learn to do so. Those inner discussions where you're in the way step back state and not coming out of the frontal lobes of the brain as we are now in conscious reasoning processing, that step back state that I lead you into through the meditation process as always, the stepping from the frontal lobes into the soul, into the psychic center, and then back into the subconscious mind. That is the route for accessing inner consciousness. Teresa was talking about dropping directly into the heart, and those who have practiced can do that because of a heart connection between the soul and the heart center, the indwelling spirit. And a connection from there to oversoul is what we call the triad. And that sacred triad is what allows us to become the co-creators with God and through the 0 point in the heart. So every day is a learning experience. Every day in every way I become better and better, as many psychiatrists like to say, and that's what's happening is we're training and domesticating our low self to cooperate with our middle self and the indwelling middle soul, so we can participate in the oversoul and the undersoul polarities to manifest and de-manifest in the 0 point. It's really quite simple how it works. But understanding that process gives you power over your reality rather than necessarily being subjective to it constantly. Well, with that said, let's drop back to granddaughter Isabella. And what I want to do is ask Rich, because he is our prime authority on dealing with entities. I'd like for Rich to come in and give us a little lesson on how to clear entities out of children particularly, and others, and explain what entities are, Rich, if you will, and give us an opportunity to experience what you know about entity work tonight.
Okay. Well, an entity is an energy form of consciousness, and it can be either in the form of a human consciousness that has indwelled into a person's body. It can either be a soul, or it can be just the energy form of a person. And it's usually the intent of a person who wants to dominate another person. So you find this quite often that, say, a father's what we call low self, and we use the word entity as a means of defining a state of consciousness or a memory form of thought that holds together, that it lodges itself into either the low self or the high self, and it affects the behavioral patterns of the person. Because remember, thoughts create emotions, and emotions create behavioral patterns. So we have sometimes people that are being influenced, most of the time it's in a negative way, through what we could refer to as low self human entities or high self human entities, such as a mother wants to dominate her daughter, and she's influencing this young person through her thoughts, and she's controlling this young person's thoughts. Now, that can also affect a person's health. So those are 4 different aspects: the low self, the low soul, a high self, a high soul. But then we also have other energy forms such as what we call non-human cross-dimensional entities. Now these are very interesting because the difference between one dimension and another dimension is so finite that it's easy for people to actually pick up energy forms of a different life form into their own chakra system. When they open themselves up either through trauma or they can actually just watch a TV program and be so intense in it, they can actually pick up energy from the action of the actor on TV. I've had that happen. I mean, especially in horror movies where people are scared to death, they actually pick up an entity that's not human. It's just a form of energy that attaches to their aura and creates fear in the root chakra. But there's other kinds of non-human cross-dimensional entities. So I find that probably 1 out of 3 people have these non-human entities. Now, the reason why it's important to use a dowser, like Teresa was talking about, is it's very hard for your subconscious mind to pick these up. You really have to tune into their aura. And now the way I do it is I close my aura up and I astral project my consciousness over to the other person. I'm not actually in their energy field, only through a remote view aspect of it. And then I douse. I say, does this person have what we call a non-human cross-dimensional entity? Now, most of the time, if they do, what's happened is this. There's some sort of a life form of energy. We don't even understand what they are. But it goes into the person's aura and it actually disrupts the chakra, the positive and negative polarity of the chakra system. Because it doesn't understand, it sees energy. It's attracted to someone's energy. So it goes into their aura and it starts utilizing the energy of that person. Now, it's not intentionally harmful necessarily. It just doesn't know what to do. It's just trying to find some sort of a life form that it can incarnate in. Well, it throws a human being off because it's maybe using a whole bunch of positive polarity and it just throws the whole chakra system off. So the person starts to get sick or they start feeling out of balance or they can't think straight. So the way I get rid of these is very easily. It's not difficult to do. You just simply identify. Now, if you have clairvoyance, you could scan their aura. I usually scan their aura and I can see some sort of a dark mass of energy that's swirling inside their self. It's usually in the middle self area. Now, when I see this form of energy, I surround it. I create a vortex of energy around it. I just encapsulate it into a cocoon of energy. That way it can't go into me, it can't go into anybody else. It's just kind of stuck there, and now I have control over it. So I speak to it and find out what it is, and it usually just says, I don't know what I'm doing here. I really don't like this energy field, but I don't know what to do, or I don't know where to go. So what I do to get rid of it, I just create a vortex above. And I use a helper, I use an angel, and I open this up and I just explain to the entity that I'm going to allow it to go to a different dimension. And I ask one of my helpers to find it a suitable host in a different dimension that's compatible with its energy field. And on that, almost every time it goes, thank you very much. I lift it right out, it goes into the vortex. I push it away, close the vortex up, it's gone. And immediately people seem to shift a little bit one way or the other. I usually do this remotely I don't let them in my front door without doing it before they get here, because I don't want them in my house with those things. So anyway, that's what we call a non-human cross-dimensional entity, okay? Well, there's other entities too. There's earth entities. Now, earth entities are energy forms of consciousness that come up through the root chakra. And some of this is tied to past life experiences. And some of it is just, they started messing with, dark energy. They started doing witchcraft or some sort of stuff. They really had no idea what they were doing, but they attracted some sort of an energy form from down below. Now these things can be really, really a pain in the butt to get rid of because but you can reason with them also. So what I do is I look in the root chakra of the person, and if I see a dark mass in their root chakra, I usually can identify it as some sort of an entity from below. Now, I used to get really pissed off at him and angry and stuff. I found that's quite unnecessary. What I do now is I simply open up a vortex below. I ask Gaia to open up a vortex. And I just bring the vortex up underneath the root chakra of the person. And I politely ask them to leave the human body. I explain to them that it's detrimental for them to be there. It's not helping this host. And sometimes we have to go through a little argument about, well, they invited me in here and I have a right to be here and all this kind of stuff. So sometimes I do a little technique called Ho'oponopono, which simply means you apologize to the entity for allowing it, inviting it in. I just say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you, thank you. Would you please leave? And most of the time and then I just put my hand reach out over the root chakra, and I just push them back in, right down below the heart chakra of Gaia, close the vortex, and let them go back to the dimension that they came from. Because they have a right to exist. They're an energy form of consciousness. Except somehow they got into this person's aura. And these can cause a lot of physical damage to the body. So and you can usually tell if a person's froze up at the neck where the reticular is, you find that is kind of a central location point because the energy will follow the spine up to where it connects to the back of the neck, and it's kind of blocked there. So that's where it manifests pain. So what people that have really bad neck aches and pain, that's usually how you can identify those entities. So once you get rid of those earth entities, then of course you have to douse to make sure they're gone. So now you're kind of at a level playing field then douse and ask if there's any other types of entities. And if there isn't, then at that point, I start working on the emotional problems, by going up, down, like what Teresa was doing. I go down through the chakras, or this would be a good time to do past life experience clearing, where you can drop down and start working at the lower levels, of past memories. But I always end up clearing these entities out before I do anything with these people. And most of the time after you clear out the entities, the body will start healing itself because you alleviated a lot of the source of blockage of these chakras. And of course the chakras are tied to the organs of the human body. So I've had people just shift in front of me and start feeling good. Their neck aches go away, their back stops hurting, all kinds of stuff. And I just tell them, I said, I didn't really do any healing with you. I just alleviated the blockages of energy, allowed your body to heal itself. So maybe that's a good point at a time to stop here now, Frank.
Rich, I'd like to add something to that. One thing I discovered just recently was if you clear an entity, I ask also to clear the memory of the entity in the cells of the body, because you can clear an entity from a past life, and yet the resonance or memory of that will remain. So clearing the memory of it through all of those past lives will bring that complete clearing into the now.
Yeah, I wanted to, thank you, because there's one thing I forgot to mention is when I get done with that, I usually will, the method that I use for that is I open up a vortex down in Gaia, and I start noticing this nice open, swirling mass of energy open. I start way up at over the crown of the aura, and I start pushing. I just kind of like, it's like I'm putting a filter over down through their body, and I start going down through, and I'm eliminating all that negative residual energy that's formed there. I mean, it's like a sweep. And I can just see the energy leaving their auras and going down this funnel into Earth Mind. It's really important, though, that we clear Earth Mind after we do this, because, like you said, we want all that memory gone. So thank you for bringing that up, because like do a sweep all the way down through the chakras, all the way down to the heart chakra of Gaia. Now what you've done here, you close that off, and then I'll reach up above their head to the oversoul of the person, and I start bringing down a clockwise flow of positive polarity, and I bring it down all the way down to the body. And I bring down this unconditional love energy, and I just fill up Earth Mind with it, and that prevents all that stuff from coming back. Because anytime you take anything out of a person, you've got to fill it back up with something. So we want to bring in some positive polarity of love, of energy, and then we can bring up the negative chi to balance it from undersoul. So, thank you for bringing that up.
Well, thank you, Rich, for that information. And this is so critical to overall healing and health and welfare to everyone and our general existence that I think we should repeat this conversation much more deeply next week with examples and for the benefit of healers and individuals, because this is responsible for about 40-50% of our problems. Psychically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And I'd like to make a comment too, for those of you who are novices to subtle energy and working with subtle energy, that this stuff that Rich and Teresa are talking about moving energies around and seeing forms and whatnot, that's all very real, because it's all part of the subtle energy system. The subtle energy system is the one that supports the physical reality system, and the chakras are the translation point between those two. So when you begin opening up and doing your clearing work and clear the third eye, primarily that religious block, so you can access your psychic intuitive center and the psychic center, that's when you begin to perceive these subtle energy realities and can actively work with them as they do to promote some wonderful healings. Now let's get back to Isabella. Now that 4-year-old, as I mentioned, is in the transition point between being an animal and being a human. And if you've ever been around a 4-year-old child, you know they're pretty much animals, selfish, dominating, controlling, wanting everything to benefit them. Well, that's the animal state of the low self consciousness. So this is also a good opportunity for entities to come in and really set them off in all their negative screaming, scratching, hitting, things of that nature. And so the first thing I always look at is, do they have entities? And yes, Isabella, because she's had some fits and screamed and has broken her own protective aura and allowed these things to come in. And so that's the first step to do, is to clear them. And so it's not a difficult process. We can do that. Any mother can do that. And we'll show you how to do it. But the second step is even more important. Is just like Rich was saying, when you clear one of these things, you got to replace it with something. So replace it with love, nurturing, caring, loving mother energy. And if you're a father, it doesn't make any difference. Still give them that loving female nurturing energy. And the low self quickly responds to that and says, this feels a whole lot better than having screaming fits did. I can get what I want because I've deserved it. And so it's a training process. And that love will raise their frequency level and take them up out of that animal consciousness and in the process of learning to be human. So let's clear Isabella now. And then we'll leave it up to the mother to continue the healing by giving her lots of good love and gentle understanding. If you ever spank one of these kids or really injure them, it just sets that pattern in them. Then it takes harder spankings, more time outs, more time in the corner, whatever you do to punish them, to bring them back. So that is not the way to heal the 4-year-old psychic syndrome. All right. Here we will now direct your attention to Isabella in Bend, Oregon. And if you have your tool available, just ask, does Isabella have entities? Yes. So we ask, what type of entities? Are these disincarnate human entities? No. Are these cross-dimensional entities? Possibly. Are these low self, low animal, low earth mind entities? Yes or no. I got a no on that. Are these disincarnates of cross-dimensional type that we may not even be aware of? Yes. All right, that one is quite easily cleared. You simply put your attention on Isabella. Create a torus. A torus is always spin clockwise. So spin this away from Isabella and just view those clouds of entities around her inner aura and just will them into that torus, spinning black hole. And we always take them back to their source, whether it be Earth or cross-dimensionally. Entities, please go into the light. Go into the light. Go back to your source now. And it usually only takes a couple of minutes because the realization is that what you create in your imagination is actually created in the subtle energy field. So as we're imagining these things we're doing, putting our intent and our will into them, it's actually happening. And you see the immediate results to it in healing and in clearing thought forms and entities and things like that. Go into the light entities. All right, now, check your pendulum. Is she clear? Yeah. My pendulum was already going yes before I even got the question asked because it's so in tune with my subconscious mind. It knows, the subconscious knows what I want, and I get the answer. All right, now, whoever Isabella's mother is, please continue her healing by loving her and lifting her up out of that animal consciousness. Okay. Vanessa, and please help with multiple sclerosis, lack of stamina, dropped and weakened left foot, circulation problems, Branchfield, New Jersey. All right, Vanessa. Multiple sclerosis is an interesting thing. It has to do with energy fields that accumulate around neurons in the brain. Initially, there's usually one point in the brain I discovered where these energies begin to accumulate, and they're like this. They're not. How can I say it? They're like chaos energy. It's almost like a disincarnate entity type thing, but it doesn't have consciousness. It's just looking for a place to harbor, a source of energy so it can sustain its form. It's like a parasite or a saprophyte. But these get into the brain, begin to break down the myelin, the sheath around the nerves. And when that happens, it makes the nerves raw and inflamed, which the entity loves. It loves that because then it has access to the energy that the inflammation gives it. And these can spread right on down through the entire system until the person ultimately is just helpless and ultimately dies because they can't function. A nervous breakdown. What we do, we'll focus our attention on Vanessa, and we can feel her system as it's responding to this field, this force field. Now, this force field has a polarity, and so we ask, they can be positive and they can be negative. So we ask, you're dowsing too, is this a positive entity? Yes. Is this a negative entity? Does it have any? No, it's positive. So it's attracted to the inflammation energy, which is negative, and that can actually break down the myelin to create that. So the way we repel positive things of this nature is with a positive polarity. So what we do, this is virtually exactly like working with antigens, except this is a little different variety, but we can heal it the same way. We're asking for the galactic flow now, a set of frequencies to come in and feel your hands get hot. Now you feel negative polarity coming through your left hand, positive polarity through your right hand. And we all put our right hand on the front part in the aura of Vanessa, and the front hemisphere of her body, and we're projecting these healing frequencies, positive polarity, directly into the front part of her body now, and driving those negative entities into a torus standing behind her that are sucking away that negative energy form. These things are really weird. I can't describe it, but just do it. Flow energy from your right hand into the front of her body, pushing the energy out her back into a whirling torus or cyclone behind her that's sucking these energies out. Focus very intently, project energy from your full body into her system now, blowing these energies, negativity out the back. Now, galactics know exactly the frequencies, so just put part of your attention on the galactic, asking for the frequencies, and you feel the frequency shift in your right hand as you scan your hand up and down her body, loosening these things out, blowing them out. These also cause all kinds of chemical imbalances in the system, so we're blowing them out of the controllers of the chemical system, primarily out of the brain. Primarily feeling at the base of her brain. Blow it out of there. All right, very good. Now put a burst of energy. It's just like throwing your hands at her and bursting her whole body with a burst of that positive energy. Blow it out. Blow it out. Blow it out. All right. Now close. We close the torus behind her and encapsulate that energy form that's being taken back to its own reality. All right, now let's see how she feels. All right, she feels very open and vulnerable right now. Still feeling the loss of the myelin, the sensitivity of the inflammation. So now we use both hands. We put the left hand behind her head, front hand over her face, and we're bringing a polarity flow into her now that'll heal the myelin around all the nerves through the power of the Christ within us. We see Vanessa in the perfect and normal condition. And we slowly move her hands down to her nose and the back of her head, and down over her mouth and the base of the brain, manifesting, creating a healing field. Now down her neck, and down her spine, and it's radiating out along all the nerves coming out of the spine, healing, clearing, totally neutralizing any effect of those antigen type energies of multiple sclerosis, moving all down to her, just above her heart level. And then skip your right hand over the heart. Don't put that energy into her heart. And then on down, below solar plexus, down through their lower back, down into her pelvic region, and following the nerves on down the spine, or down the legs, the lower legs. All right. Now rub your hands briskly. Now do put your right hand over her heart, left hand behind the heart, on her back. Now in the 0 point, we project. We go back in time and bring forward Vanessa when she was in her perfect and normal condition. Through the power of the Christ within us, 0 point, we see Vanessa in the perfect and normal condition. We see that in the standing waves, moving from her past into her future, creating the pure and perfect form. And we feel that resonating through her entire nervous system in the future standing waves of now. Bring her into the pure and perfect condition. And I hear in the background, I hear the galactic flow helping us out on this. That's what that ocean sounding noise is. That's the galactic flow, wrapping Vanessa in the energy of the galactic flow, bring your entire body back into a perfect and normal condition. And so it is. Okay. Now, also from JP, Claritin Healing Request, Al Graham in Austin, Texas. Please heal spot on lung. Spots on lungs are usually created by situations where something's done to irritation to the lung and it tries to heal itself off. So we want to see whatever the causative action, whether it was smoking or inhaling toxic chemicals or a toxic workplace of some kind, whatever it is, we go back in time and we clear out of that causative situation from his system. Now in his 0 point of his moment of now, we put our right hand directly over this spot on the lung, and we manifest the pure and perfect condition. Lungs respond very well to this healing. I've had people who were due to have one lung removed because of of chemical conditions, and they heal up instantly. So through the power of the Christ within us, we see this spot and all the other damaged tissue in either lung now clearing and receding. And Al, I want you to draw a breath now, and not a deep breath, just a small breath, and feel the spot as your breath and the energy shrinks it. Now a deeper breath, more energy, more healing energy. And as you exhale, the spot shrinks again. Now draw a real deep breath, all the air you can hold in your lungs. And as you exhale, all the damage to your lungs is cleared. Both lungs. The healing light pours through you, totally clearing and healing. And so it is. That should do it. Okay, and I'd like to say to anyone who doesn't get a complete healing, feel free to call me personally so we can work with it more directly and possibly have more time to get to the mental emotional cause of whatever's creating the situation. Now from Teresa.
Frank, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Hey, I was working on a person the other day, and they were born with a defect, and so I went back and reborn them. I mean, went back to the fetus and tried to work from the fetus forward. Is that something that you've done too, or?
Yeah, this is possible. People with spina bifida and some really horrible birth defects. That's about the only way to work with them. And if you can get them soon enough, you see good response as the baby matures and is corrected. When they get in older and it's kind of locked into their psyche that this is what they are, and nothing's going to change it, and they accept it, then it's more difficult to do. But yeah, that's a great process.
Well, I'm talking about working on somebody that's in their 50s, and they were born with a certain problem, and I had to go all the way back to conception and start over with them. I guess that's the only way to do it, or is it possible to go even before they were born?
Well, look for the karma.
Yeah.
And it could be the karma of the mother, it could be their own personal soul, low soul karma, it won't be high soul karma. And, follow your intuition. It's entirely possible. Everything's possible because we are working directly with spirit in manifestation and demanifestation. So, yeah, it's just all a matter of everything that ever happened is still in standing waves, still being held in form in low self and the standing waves and in earth mind. And so that's the places to start. Correct it back there and get to psychic trauma or mental emotional cause, and then bring it up to the 0 point, and it's remanifestation, creating a new reality for these tissues, and the body is usually more than willing to accept it. So yeah. Okay. We have from Teresa, Herman Geerling, 65 years old, London, Canada, bone cancer. All right, let's tune into Herman. Does Herman have any entities? Yes, he does. Teresa, had you cleared the entities out of you before?
No, I have not. I didn't test them for that.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll clear them right now then. All right. And now bone cancer and any kind of cancer of that nature, blood cancer, is literally a systemic thing that fills every part of the body. And what has to be determined, and I hate to say this, but it's important because it has to be accepted, is this an honorable way of committing suicide, of checking out? Yes. Is this the case with Herman? Not so much, but it's there. He could easily give up and be subjected to it. But with Herman, is it possible to heal Herman of this bone cancer? Yes. Can we do it with our known technology? No. Can we do it utilizing the flow? Yep. Of the galactic forces that are coming into us now. And that's why we've been hearing the sound that's coming in underneath our broadcast tonight. That's the galactic flow saying they're available to help. So I want everyone, the listening audience and everyone else, take your awareness to your foreheads, drop right straight back through the soul center, unify our souls into one intent to heal Herman and anyone else out there suffering from cancer of the blood or systemic cancer of any kind. And take that intent down back deeper into the psychic center. And we have Herman. Now we can drop back deeper into the subconscious. And this time we're going to open up to oversoul, undersoul, and we feel the galactic flows coming through our hands as heat. It's not the usual tingling sensation. This time it's heat. We're going to put Herman's body right between our collective hands. We surround him with our collective hands all over his body.
Gotta go, I'm sorry. Good night, everybody.
we'll continue with the healing requests in the group. Feel Herman responding. Feel Herman responding. Feel his blood turning hot with these frequencies of energy. We see his blood boiling, literally boiling away the frequencies of the bone cancer. We're using the galactic flow now that we're hearing to wash through Herman, to help him to come into the pure and perfect condition. And we feel his entire body, the battle that's going on in his body. We hold Herman in perfection through the power of the Christ within us, and with the unified field of the galactic flow, we see Herman being healed. Herman is healed. Now we project that healing on into the future standing waves, breaking down the causative factors in the past standing waves, sending this energy backward in time into the essence, into the subtle energy field, all the way back to where the condition was initiated, and it is healed. And so it is. All right, Teresa, let us know how that worked. That was something new. All right.
That was good, Frank. I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara, Catherine.
Yeah,
so
that's
Barbara D. Who?
That's my sister, Barbara DeSassis.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ovarian cysts.
She believes that's what it is. She made mention of it this morning, and that's her way of asking me to do a healing on her.
All right, pains in her ovaries.
And through the back side of her too, where I thought it might be kidneys, but.
All right, we put our collective hands over both kidneys now, both ovaries, the entire gynecological system. And we let the galactic flow pour through our hands. The same thing's happening. And we bring Barbara into the perfect and normal condition. She'll simply quit hurting. Go back in time. The standing wave of time to clear the thought form, whatever premeditated this condition. We feel our hand getting extremely hot again. This is a new form of energy we're working with. And it's very, very powerful. We just let it flow while we visualize her kidneys and her ovaries in the perfect and normal condition. Pulling down the template from her oversoul as to the perfect and normal condition. And so it is. Okay. Ooh, that was good. I wonder why JP asked about disincarnate pets. Well, that's for another day. Teresa, healing request for Jerry Wartall, 67, London, Canada, chronic ALS, now has pneumonia, can't breathe on his own. He's in hospital. Teresa, did you ask if his desire is to transcend? I think we worked with him before.
We did work with him, and just recently he's just got pneumonia, and he's in the hospital right now.
Did he respond to our work?
It didn't seem so.
I think that what we can do here is the Book of the Dead. I'm getting strong indication, yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Would you like to do that for the experience?
Sure. Okay. Okay. I'm now tuned into to Jerry, to the essence, the spirit of Jerry, and we call you in at this time. Jerry, it was an honor and pleasure to meet you, and we see from the patterns of the progress of your illness that you have made a contract to experience this. 4 lessons known to you and to your family. And we honor that. And we honor you for that. And at this time, we understand that you are in the process of transitioning. I sense that your lower soul is rebelling as all low souls do. However, there is an acceptance, an understanding that you can be in alignment with that, with your low soul. Your low soul has served you well, and it will transition easily and to a better and a higher place. And as you transition, you will discover that you too will be able to ascend. With this agreement, we now read you the Book of the Dead. And if you look over your shoulder, you'll see your angels at the gateway, and they will guide you through. And who is waiting for you on the other side are your ancestors. And they will guide you, they will take your hands, and they will guide you to your right and proper place. We bring you to this gateway. As you pass through, we send you with unconditional love, and we also clear all your karma from all past lives, so that your soul, as it transcends, will have learned all the lessons required in these lifetimes, so that if you elect to reincarnate, that you will come back as a pure and clear soul. You will have the opportunities of ascension, and you will have the opportunities of choosing that ascension. From the power of the Christ within, we see you in your pure and perfect form as you transcend. We now close the portal, and we send you with deep gratitude and love, unconditional love, to you and to your family. And so it is.
And so it is. You know, just for your information, I've had instances where people were totally in the last stages and were even given the last rites by a priest. And I did that Books of Dead for them, and they got better. They came back out of it. So you never know, because it's almost like when you do that clearing for them, it clears their reason for checking out. So you never know what's going to happen when you say, thank you, God, and please bring us another one.
Change of heart.
Yeah, maybe they changed their mind or changed their heart.
Well, maybe they took a look where they're going and said, that's not for me, and backed out.
Yeah. Really?
No, it's the realization that they can change their own karma.
Yes. Yeah, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I saw him walking around, and he has had the spirit of wanting to be here. That was definitely in his eyes, and when he saw me, he was so excited, and he gave me a hug, and I told him that we had been doing the healings for him, and you could just feel the love in his heart, because he has now lost his speech. Yeah.
Let us know what had happened.
When, you know how Rachel can hit different octaves, and it affects each one of us differently. Mm-hmm. And I know that a lot of people have different antigens or different things within their bodies that are like control mechanisms. And when a certain sound pitch is hit or a certain light or color is seen through their eyes, I'm not sure exactly what activates it, but it activates like a switch within them and starts turning things off. Mm-hmm. And I can't say how I know this or why I know this, but I know that it is. And there again, by me even talking about it now, the changing of that, or the word I'll use, healing of that, whatever that might be, is going to start happening because all of you are having that information I'm giving you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah. Okay, now this is everything in its time, and as Frank is saying, that we are learning things and new things are coming to us and all of that. So this is just, more study, more homework. Curious.
Jackie, I have some free time this week, and I think I'll have to contact Joan and Rachel when she gets back, and David, see when they'll be available.
Okay.
But it'll probably be like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
And we'll do the work with you then.
Okay, just let me know. Either one of those days works for me.
Okay. I'm really interested in seeing everyone in the group have the benefits of this work, because it's so profound. It just is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do me, and then we can set up something for Dent.
Yeah, right. We do use the lights. That's part of it.
I have my light on right now.
Very good.
It calms my animals, by the way.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
The last time we were together and you were able to translate what the galactics were saying, it just I kind of teared up. It really hit me. It was powerful, and it seemed like it was like an affirmation of what was said by them and translated by you.
That clicking sound, I have a new set of earphones, and every time I move, it clicks. Let me check something here, and you give me feedback if I'm still clicking. Oops, I lost you.
We can hear you.
Oh, there you are again. All right, where do I want to go? Here. System preferences.
You guys hear me? Frank, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, maybe you could help me out. One of these times, try to help explain to me how all these astrological positions of planets affect us through the subtle energy realms of consciousness. Because I understand how the moon, the negative polarity of the moon, the positive polarity of the sun, but when we get past that point, I am just at a loss. Like when Mike goes through the stuff about where the planets are, and it's just kind of, I don't know, I just don't have any understanding of...
all right, they give me a visualization right now for you. Okay. You have a gallon of water, and you drop different colors of dye into about 6 or 8 places around in that dye, and it's not stirred. The dye just stays suspended where you put it. And then you put a little ball down in there that is attracted to that particular frequency of color energy, and the ball sits there and just maintains its own space, its own frequency. And then you put another ball in the middle. And that ball is the sun, and the big ball, and the other balls around it are all the planets. If they were just sitting there, nothing would happen. But all those planets are moving at an incredible speed. They're moving around because of the difference from the sun. They're changing locations. Now, just visualize what's happening as those balls go through those different colors things and how they stir up stringers of colored energy and frequencies. And as they pass in alignment with other balls, it changes the frequencies, the colors that they're creating. And all of this is creating as the water really gets stirred, it's like stringers of energy flowing around through the gallon of water to where nothing in that water is independent. It's all pulled together by all those different frequencies. They're strung out there and still holding form, and through all the interactions of all those frequencies and the planets resonating energy, which is literally the energy of the sun that they're internalizing and casting back out as light energy, consciousness energy, frequencies. And now pick out the one little ball that is the Earth and see as it passes around through the influences of the various planets and the sun, how there's a constant shifting and change, and how every time the moon goes around the Earth, it interferes with those, amplifies, and those flows as they come into direct alignment and conjunction, and squares are neutralizing and they're creating chaos because their energy is cutting directly across the lines of interaction. The opposite positions are creating imbalances in the polarity field between them and the sun. The conjuncts are nice and healthy because they're empowering the various colors and interactions as they go around. And then picture yourself as a little human bug on that Earth planet, and open up and feel all those influences that are shifting constantly. They're not abrupt shifts, but open up now and visualize our solar system just the way I explained it. Open up now and feel. Come bring your awareness in, attune it with the sun to start with, then the earth, now, through thousands of years, and probably from the Anunnaki, that taught them how to do it, people learned to feel and sense those frequencies, and the ones that were energy sensitive, because those resonances are all occurring with our own energy fields of our own bodies, and those resonate into the chakra system, and the chakra system each one of these is energetically in attunement with one of the planets, or it's planet of what is it, Mike? Dominance or influence or ruled. Their planets are ruled by one of these. The chakras are ruled by one of the planets, and that means that frequency range is more receptive to that particular planet. But as it spins out away from us, that energy is stimulated or dampened down by other planets interfering with it. So in the course of this, there's absolutely every frequency possible of consciousness that is available to us. And the availability is what gives us a platform to stand upon. It influences our physical bodies, it influences our emotional bodies, it influences our mental, emotional consciousness. It's a constant, ongoing flux, just like living in that little fish bowl. If you were a fish swimming around in there, you'd probably want to jump out. But that's what happens. Now, if you have awareness of how this works, and you're that little fish swimming around in there, you'd be smart to avoid the dark, heavy ones, influences that could negate or affect your system. Therefore, if you were a powerful little fishy that had strong psychic energy and power, you could be aware of that focus coming at you, and you could, because these are such subtle energies, you could generate an equal and opposite energy within your own system to repel that away from you individually through your own auric field. It's like creating a bubble around yourself with that particular frequency, just like we do when we put protective shields around us. And so this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying feel the subtle energies, become sensitive, know what's affecting you by looking at whatever like Mike does, the influences are of any particular day, and creating the equal and opposite energy to deflect it or neutralize the standing waves, because there are all standing waves of energy coming at you. Okay, Mike, does that work for you?
That was Rich.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mike, you have a pretty good understanding of way more than I do about this astrology stuff. So when you read your chart and you understand what it's saying, are you able to have enough understanding to know what to expect and how to, without even knowing how to feel the energy, on an intellectual standpoint, are you able to analyze it and figure it out ahead of time?
Well, there are people that, that will look at their chart, particularly, consult the chart during times when there are important decisions or life junctures to be made, things like that, and or known challenging life events. And I think the school of thought that I'm adapted into, and after listening to what the skills that people have here, I think it's and we've done it before. It's a matter of then going and transmuting the potential negative astrological influence, into the future, clearing that influence and making it either benign or of no influence whatsoever, that we can then dictate, create our own reality there, or make slight adjustments. I've also heard of people making slight adjustments to angles that would, also then make an aspect or a relationship between planets benign. So I wouldn't exactly call myself an expert, in astrology, but I've learned a lot about. It's also possible to look at planets and signs and understand the nature of that influence. And a lot of times it can be a matter of just working with what we have and what we know. It's not even necessary to make dramatic changes, that it's more of an adaptive process. So that's what I have to say about that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Because I get kind of frustrated at times.
Well, we can, there's online resources, or if you want, I think I have some basic educational material as well that will talk about planets and signs, birth signs, just basic knowledge that you'd pick it up real quick. It's not, as they say, rocket science.
But the thing you have to realize, guys, is that without those influences, we wouldn't have any essence of experientiality in life. We'd be floating around this little inert, stupid lumps of clay in that fishbowl.
Well, it's part of our evolution, right?
Yeah, it's part of life. Part of life.
If we're going to go to another galaxy in the future, it's part of our, I guess, what you use is the term earning the right to evolve, or, step up another. We need to be able to deal with these energy flows and know how to deal with them, because they're going to be, if we go to another galaxy, we'll have to deal with probably the similar stuff anyway, right?
Well, that's exactly right. That's why many of the aliens come in, have to wear spacesuits and shielding effects so they can maintain their own normalcy. That's the way it was with the Anunnaki. When they first came, they had to wear spacesuits constantly as they adapted, and as Enki and what's her name? Ninsarag experimented with increasing the immune systems of those who had to do the mining and had to be outside and whatnot. They eventually, after 100,000 years, began to adapt to where they could live without the spacesuits. Then they discovered the wonderful technique of crossbreeding with the local populace, which was the who were already immune to everything, and the demigods very rapidly expanded because they could all survive that way. That's why there was never more than then 600 Anunnaki here. 300 of them stayed on the moon and Mars and in the spaceship shuttling back and forth, and only 300 came down here to mine and to create the humanoids, us, and direct us what to do. That's
it's like we're an experiment.
Yeah. They kept us dumbed down for a couple 100,000 years, so we couldn't really do anything but work for them. And
we're the Monsanto GMOs of the Anunnaki.
Well, it reminds me of Hawaii, because here in Hawaii, in the 1700s and 1800s, 40% or 50% of the Hawaiian population died from measles, from flu, from just common sicknesses that were brought over from, the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
And bubonic plague was so bad here in 1900 that downtown Kahului was burned to the ground to kill the rats because there were so many people dying here. And so, here we have this little isolated island, so it's not any different than aliens coming to Earth. It's the same thing, Exposed to elements it's not compatible to them, so they just die. Kind of interesting.
Rachel's not here tonight. She's down on the ocean. Hopefully she's listening and enjoying with us. But we don't have her to bring in the galactics. They keep hanging around, so if you'd like, shall I try to bring them in?
So you want an auditory sound?
Yes.
I'm not as good at it as she is. She's got a better bowl, possibly, too. Try it on your bowl, Catherine.
I don't have one.
Well, hit your head then.
I have absolutely nothing here.
Okay. Anyone else have a bowl?
No. Frank, when you do yours, just do it the once, and it's already started. Just allow the resonance to ring. Here it comes.
Come on. open your hearts and send great appreciation to the galactics for their help.
It's as if we are being sent love bubbles. Big, big ones.
Mike, can you record this?
Yeah, let me start it.
As I understand what's happening now.
I got some the other day.
Those repetitive cycles are resonating through our bodies, through the crystalline cell walls, resonating to stir our cells, all broken up bits of cells of those 10 strands that were. So as they stir and move around through those repetitive cycles, it's just exactly like the washing machine that Catherine suggested is that they're repetitively moving them back and forth. And when they encounter, they're in the etheric pattern, in the place where they belong, they fit in there and stay attached, and that's what's growing our DNA back.
It's running right now, so if you just mute and let it run for a few minutes, I'll send it, at the end here when we're done.
Well, I think it'd be great to go to sleep to this.
Yeah.
It's there if you allow it to have yourself hear it, because it's there.
It's still broadcasting. Still broadcasting on UMR.
It may have more effect on our the stronger frequencies may have more effect on reassembling the DNA too.
I can't hear it now. All I can hear is us, so we should all back out and let her run.
Well, I think we're done for the night. Let's do it the next time, though.
Okay. I have a blurb. I'll send a blurb that I did a few days ago if people want to hear it of Galactics. It's probably about a 10-minute, and I loop it on my MP3 player sometimes when I go to bed, as was mentioned.
Well, as Gary said, that it's still on Universal Mind.
Oh yeah, right. So you can download that and get it at the end. The trick is to get just a snippet that has only what you want.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say before you started speaking, Frank, that I felt a huge light go off within inside of me. And after you were saying the repetition of the DNA and so forth, it makes sense to me now.
Yeah. Well, when you said that about the washing machine, that triggered me to look at it and realize what was happening.
Go ahead.
Very good, guys. We're learning.
Yeah. Good night, gentlemen and ladies. Love to you all.
Good night, everybody. Love to you.
Okay, good night.
Love you all, and thank you very much for tonight. It was just wonderful.
Yes, it was. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
Okay, folks, that was an extra bonus there. About almost an extra hour of Frank Jordan and his working with his Earth Mind Healer group. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be going back over to the music now, so kick back and listen to a few good tunes. Talk to you next time. It's Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. There'll be another show from Frank and his group. Thanks for listening, and may all you have the best of everything. for now and forever. Good night from Universal Mind Radio.